In this episode, we're talking about social media influencers. Should you use them for the business? Do you believe them? Can you see through them? Have a listen and let us know what you think. Hi, and welcome to the Small Business Podcast for Small Businesses, where in this episode, we are talking about social media influencers. Should you use them? Do you believe them? And should you work with them? So, depending on your position, your knowledge, your understanding, would you use a social media influencer for your business? And would it be right for your business? Yes or no? And honestly, get in touch and let us. I'd be really interested to know people's thoughts on this. I've worked with clients and on and off with influencers for over 10 years now. And I found I have a very different view on it from compared to others. But I think that might be partly my background in brands. So I know that influencers have either been sent something for free to promote, or they've been paid to promote such a product. So the obvious influencer that we all know would be David Beckham. David Beckham signed a deal with Pepsi. So does he drink Pepsi every day? Who knows? Did he have to drink Pepsi every day because he was being paid by them? Probably. But he advertised Pepsi, and that was his brand. That was his influence that back in the day, but not necessarily just on social media, but advertising online, on TV, in print, that David Beckham was the face of Pepsi. And social media influencers are very similar on a very, very small scale. On the flip side of that, another well-known situation was when Coke was put in front of Ronaldo for a press conference and he moved the bottles out the way. He didn't want to be associated with Coca-Cola because he had water to drink and he was drinking water. So an advocate for water, which the majority of the world can get free, but also it's bottled water, but it wasn't a bottle, it was just water. So there's two ways brands can go with that. So should you use an influencer? Well, arguably it comes back to who your target audience is. Who is your target audience and what do they understand? For me, I wouldn't use an influencer. The way we work is that we work by suggesting and recommending different people. We don't do affiliate schemes. We don't do kickbacks. We literally just recommend people who would be best fit to work with others. Who's the best, and even down to tradesmen, who's the best tradesman in the area? What level do you want to pay for a certain service? Because again, we work with different levels of service as well. So it might be if I know someone wants something quite better value or a bit cheaper, then I'll suggest someone different to someone who's got a higher budget and wants a whole nother level of service. Because ultimately, we know you get what you pay for. So when you look at social media, and just have a think about this, of when you're scrolling and you see someone talking about a specific brand, product, different service, do you realize they're selling to you? Because Instagram, for example, you have to tag, you have to mark, and if they think you're advertising something, it does highlight and it can violate their community standards. So it's really, really important to realize, to know if you're being sold to or not. And that's what social media platforms are trying to make sure that it's very, very clear. But it's not always clear. It can come down to UGC content. What's UGC content? User generated content. So if I had a video of me and I've got a reel up somewhere of me getting in my smart car, is that me influencing you to buy a smart car? Well, no, it was a funny reel, it was a bit of a meme. But if I had me driving around in my smart car, and my smart car's branded, I've said smart car a lot on this podcast. Let's hope they hear and send me a new one. Wishful thinking. But I've had it wrapped as well. So I've got the Breakout logo all over the smart car. Number one, best decision I ever made because it's putting that brand awareness on front of people. If anyone asks, it was Auto Innovations in Sudbury that wrapped the car. Please go and contact Chris. Tell him Farley sent you because they are absolutely amazing. But am I going to be paid by Smart Car to do that? Well, No, but it's my content. So I might just be talking about my vehicle being wrapped. It just so happens that that's the type of vehicle it is. But that is UGC content. They've not paid me to create that video. They've not, it's not quite clearly an advert. It's literally a video of me and my car. And that's what they mean by, it's like if I was sat here with a mug of tea and it might be a branded mug, that's user generated content because I'm drinking the tea, I'm using the mug. It's not me going, hi, here's a mug, buy it. So there's a slight difference, and brands have recognized this and realized that people don't always like to be sold to. If I was sat here going, we do social media for you, we do social media for you, would you like us to do social media for you? You're not going to listen to my podcast for very long because you're just continually being sold to. And the behaviour habits of back in the day when we didn't have social media, yes, we had adverts because that's how people found different brands, different products. It's like the QVC shopping channel. People knew you went there to have a look at certain things, to understand how things worked and how they reviewed them. You'd look at the newspapers for reviews. But now there is so much advertising and marketing potential out there, which is great for small businesses, but they have to find different ways. And one of them is to send something to an influencer. So it might be Mrs. Hinch, for example. She's made her living on cleaning. So who's going to send her stuff? Cleaning companies, cleaning products, cleaning cloths, whatever it might be. There, she's going to be the best person to sell that for them. And that's because an influencer should be a person of authority, knowledge, and position. That's the definition if you look it up. But what gives them that authority, knowledge, and position? Is it the fact they've got thousands and thousands or maybe millions of followers? Well, arguably, yes and no. I know a lot of people with tens of thousands of followers just because they had a couple of posts go viral. Doesn't mean they're an expert in a certain area. Doesn't mean they've got that authority to tell you exactly what you should be spending your money on. And that's what it comes down to. Especially right now, all our money is precious to us. It's not easy out there. So every penny you spend should be really important. It should be something you really, really need. And if you need it, it's an easy sell because you're going to buy it. Relevant that you might be competing against different brands, but you need it. If it's something you want, for example, and when I say want, not need, think about 2020 and when hot tubs went through the roof, that everyone had a branded hot tub, certain brand of hot tub. They were everywhere. You didn't need that. No one needs a hot tub to live, but it was a want. It was a nice to have at the time. So how much does that person have the authority and the position to tell you what to spend your precious hard-earned money on? It might be their job. So David Beckham's job, going back to that example, was playing football. So how does he know that Pepsi's better than Coca-Cola? What gives him the authority and that knowledge to tell you that you should just buy Pepsi every single time? So, because that's not his job. His job is to play football. If he was selling a brand of football shirt or a brand of leather football, whatever it might have been, 100% he could tell you that is part of his job. That is part of the tools he needs to do his trade. So that makes complete sense. But when you get a social media influencer, and I've been on the other end of it, of having influencers apply to us as a brand to be sent stuff for review, some of them had 200 followers. What makes you, it was a baby brand at the time, what gives you the authority and knowledge? Oh, I'm a mum. Okay. Well, how would you oh, well, I'm expecting at the moment. Okay, so you want to have the product for free and you're going to do some content on it and you're going to influence people to buy it. Well, okay, you can recommend to several of your friends. That's brilliant. And you've got 200 followers. But what's the impact on that? How are you going to convince people to buy? Because at the moment, you haven't tried that product. You don't know how good it is. How are you going to review it? On the flip side, we've got a local guy who does car valeting. He's put YouTube. People have sent him products. He gets it quite often. People send him products to try. Can you test out and do a review for us? absolutely fine, no problem. He does it. Unfortunately, he's been a bit too honest in the past. He's done a video whether the products work or not. So, and he's had to take content down before because it's not been positive. So again, it's his job. He's got the authority, he's got the knowledge, and he's got the position because he's been doing that job for a very, very long time. He knows what works, he knows the results. So ultimately, he's the best person to recommend those products. But he also fed back about those products. They weren't changed, they weren't helped, they didn't help themselves, they didn't take that feedback on board. He posted the video and then he was threatened he had to take the video down because it wasn't good. But they wanted him to say it was good. So for free stuff, he could have said it was good, but he's got that responsibility to you and your hard-earned money to tell you to go and buy something. So if it's not good, it's a complete waste of money. Who are you going to be annoyed at? Because ultimately, if you've chosen to buy a product because someone who's very, very experienced has told you to buy them and recommended these products, you're going to do that. That's the person with the position, the authority. But technically, he's not telling you the whole truth because he's not happy with that product. So he's had an influence over you, but actually a negative influence over you, which rightly so he wasn't happy with. So he will not recommend now at all products that he doesn't agree with. And what about people's status? What about David Beckham could recommend anything? So brands could pay David Beckham to sell a product and talk about their product, and you guarantee there will be a boost in sales. Small businesses won't be able to afford that. They can't afford to send him money. But are there products he's using? Does he buy and support small businesses? He's got heavily into his beekeeping, for example, recently. Is he promoting the types of hives he uses, the type of equipment, the type of suits? Because he's buying that and using that anyway. But that's his hobby? So is he that he's tested loads and that's what he says is right? That's what we used to get by the likes of Which magazine. They would compare several brands and several products and tell you they had the authority, they had the knowledge, they had the position because they had tried and tested everything to let you know the pros, cons, and give you all the information for getting you to make your mind up. Is it that someone's just paid to do something? So again, going back to Pepsi with Kendall Jenner, that advert got pulled because it wasn't popular. It went live and it absolutely bombed. It was taken very, very negatively. So because she had a status, she's the right person to tell you to drink Pepsi. How does that work? So if someone is similar to the millions of followers, but it's going back to status, it's why you won't see the royal family with certain brands because they've got the status, and if you see them with something, guarantee, well, if the royal family are you going to buy it, then you're 100% going to buy it. That it doesn't work like that. Just because they've got status doesn't mean that's okay. The beauty industry is a classic one. Just because one person with a lot of status uses this, I was going to say hand cream, face cream. Just because someone with status in the beauty industry uses that face cream and says the best face cream ever, they could have completely different skin to you. They could have dry skin, you have oily skin. So it's talking about the brand, and it's finding out what influencers right and what social media influencer brands are using. So as a business, should you use a social media influencer? If that's a good fit for you and you've got someone who's got the exact authority, knowledge and position to recommend something. So it's like for us, we recommend certain accounting softwares. Some we recommend, some we don't. Why? Because we work with them. I work on all the softwares more or less every week, if not every day. But there's different fits for different people. So depending what you want to do as a business, you might not want to use a certain software and it might not be right for you. So I will recommend the best software for what you're doing. More often than not, people come to me and they're like, oh, someone said I needed a software, so I just bought it. And it's not always the right fit. So everything needs to be tailored to you to give you the best product and service for what you need and what you want to do. You would still need to do your own research and find and test and try what might work or doesn't work for you. So should you use social media influencers? If that works for you and you find someone who's spot on and a real lover of your product and service and benefits your business and you can see a tangible difference in sales, absolutely go and do it. If you're just using influencers to get your brand out there, maybe want it to go viral and deal with those consequences, pros and cons of whether it does or not, absolutely. But what do you need to do to back it up? You need the customer service. You need the good product. You need the good service. You need to be top of your game, because if someone's using and promoting your product, you need to back it up, because if they're saying how great it is, it needs to be great. It needs to be great for every single person. So I'm not against social media influencers at all. That is just taking that care and consideration of how much it costs to your business to use them. If you're paying someone to promote your product, and tell me if I'm wrong, 9 times out of 10, I can see through that. You might not. The majority of consumers might not. I might have been on the wrong side of the industry for too long. But if you're sending out a free sample or a free gift to someone in response to them promoting it or creating a reel or talking about it, that's a lesser cost to you as a business. But you need to make sure they follow up. That's another issue I had back in the day of just people not following up, not doing the posts, not doing the reels. So find your way with it. So let me know. I'd be really, really interested on everyone else's thoughts on influencers. We're trying to do a lot more debate on the podcast, get some pros and cons in. So if you don't agree with me, get in touch, come on the podcast and we can talk about it and we can talk both sides of the argument. We're trying to do that at the moment with MLM companies. We've got a lot of people pro MLM. So if you're not, it would be really good to have that counter argument on the podcast. So get in touch and send us a message or drop us an email. But as always, if you know any influencers, send them this episode. I'd be really keen to hear their side of it as well and let us know what you think. So thanks for listening as always, and sign up and subscribe because it really helps a little podcast like us. And we'll see you next time.